Oh, welcome, Comic Corner agents of Fandom Network. My name is Damon. I'm joined alongside AF and TJ, aka Fat Thor, today for this new comic book Wednesday, Thursday reaction show. We always do this. We talk about comics, we talk about news, reviews, interviews, all that stuff in this space. AF, we have a lot of DC books to talk about, specifically a maddening absolute week. Good afternoon to you.
Good after evening, morning. I don't know. What is time?
What is time?
Yeah, dude. I'm excited for this week's episode. Like you said, a lot of DC books, a lot of absolute books. So let's just get into it, man.
TJ, good morning to you. Let's get into it because we have a heavy show today. We're going to start off before we get into our reviews and all that stuff of this week's Absolute Comics. We're going to start with some news. And you didn't know about this until I showed it to you about 45 seconds ago. But, we do know Ultimate Endgame is a thing, TJ. We do know that the Ultimate Endgame is going to be ending the Ultimate Universe theoretically, but hold the door, because Marvel announced this yesterday. This is Reborn Ultimate Impact. Let me give you the synopsis. Following the final issue of Ultimate Endgame in April, Reborn Ultimate Impact will reveal the Ultimate Universe's lasting effect on the main Marvel universe. And before you hold your breath, TJ, you're going to be saying, who's writing this? It is not Dennis Kemp. It is Chris Condon of Ultimate Wolverine and Stefano Caselli, the artist behind Ultimate Black Panther. This is a 5-issue limited series spinning off from last year's hits, asterisk, question mark, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, where it had Miles going around at the very end. He collected these origin boxes and then came home, and now we're going to see what's going on with these origin boxes that he has. So in my opinion, I'll get yours in a second, TJ. In my opinion, a weird way and a not great way to kind of continue the story of the Ultimate Universe, given that Ultimate Incursion, Spider-Man Ultimate Incursion book, in my opinion, wasn't good. It was the weakest of this Ultimate line, even if that wasn't the limited series. So yeah, TJ, the Ultimate Universe isn't over yet, apparently.
I don't know, man. I don't know. When I first saw this, I thought it was going to be something like the original Ultimate or something, just the way the art kind of like Iron Man specifically. So I'm glad it's not that. But I don't know. I think we definitely need something to see how all of this, Ultimate Universe stuff has affected or is going to affect the main. Like, I think we need that. But do I think it should be a 5-issue limited series? Not really, in my opinion. And also, I will agree with you, which maybe they can kind of rectify this with this 5 issues. But to me, that was the biggest disappointment of this whole Ultimate Universe going back these last 2 years, is the non-inclusion of Miles Morales. Because if we go way back to Ultimate, what was it? Invasion, Incursion, whatever the hell it was. That was, like, to me, the biggest, like, mystery I was excited for, because again, Miles and Maker, the two only survivors of that original universe. To me, that is a very interesting concept I want to explore. And the Ultimate Incursion with Miles, the series, just did not do that for me at all. And I felt, like I said, kind of a disservice to not go into that storyline more. So hopefully we get more of that here. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Chris Condon, though, I'm all for them writing it. I think, I love Ultimate Wolverine. So, while I wish it was Denise, I will say I'm not worried about the writing of it.
I'm not worried about it either. I think Chris Condon's a fine writer. There's some books of his that I like. Most recently, I believe he just finished the Green Arrow run, which was very good. AF. Reborn, Ultimate Impact. He never really got into the Ultimate side of Marvel. Any thoughts?
I don't know. Like, so after I sent this to you last night, and I was just like scouting through some comments, there's a proper divide over here, like that I've noticed. Some people hate it, some people love it, some people think, okay, we still getting some sort of ultimate universe tidbits after this. It's not completely done. And I think those are the ones that's like holding on to the fact that they didn't want the ultimate universe and all of those things to end. And then the other side is just like people are like, why did they have to do this? Like, if they're ending the ultimate universe, then just end it. Like, what's happening? So yeah, all that I've noticed was there was a bit of a divide, and some people were happy, some people weren't.
I'm very conflicted. I'll say that much because the Ultimate line of Marvel, same thing with you, TJ, I believe for the most part. I mean, outside like a couple Marvel books for us both, like mainline Marvel books, like the Ultimate stuff's really the only thing that's keeping me going back to Marvel for the most part. And now that the line's ended, I was looking back at my pull list. I'm like, well, I'm saving some money because I don't know what the hell else I'm going to be picking up from Marvel. And now it's like, well, do I just like take the first issue and see where we go from here? I guess, but I'm like cautiously pessimistic, not even optimistic. I'm like cautiously pessimistic about
Yeah,
this.
same. I would
'Cause I'm
say
like,
pessimist is the word.
It's like, I just wish that the Ultimate Universe was still going on.
Well, and I think too, which I mean would probably take a lot more work, which seems like no one wants to do these days. But I mean, I think it would be work a little better if, like, say the same whatever they're gonna do in this story, like you said, with the origin boxes, whatever, like trickle that in different places. Like, like I don't know, I'm kind of out of touch right now, but I don't know if Cody Ziegler is still writing Miles, but have a couple storylines dealing with that, or in an Iron Man book, like the origin box pops up, like kind of show the effects on 616 through the different titles already going on. To me, a 5-issue mini just kind of feels like, okay, we're going to tell you all this and then never mention it again. It's just like to kind of wrap it up and get it out of the way. And that, like you said, pessimistic. I think that's a great word for it.
Yeah, we'll see where we go from here. I could very easily see something like May Storm or a character like that, like being created over here in the mainline 616, and that's kind of it for now. But I'm just like, why did it have to end like this? We'll see. I mean, next week we have the second issue of Ultimate Endgame. The first issue was fine, but we'll see where we go from here because we have a lot more stuff to get into, including some comments from comic legend and DC editor-in-chief, Jim Lee. Nothing good about getting comics and manga pitted up against each other up here on the interwebs. We're going to go at it. And DC's editor-in-chief addressed it directly. And he's essentially agreed and admitted to some people that, hey, yeah, manga is outperforming Western comics, which I think for the most part, no one's really disagreeing with. But here's his actual quote. The stories told in Japanese manga and anime are incredibly powerful. I find myself wondering what is missing in Western comics and why aren't they able to achieve the same flavor? Also, I think manga has an advantage over American comics, which are mostly about superheroes. And that's where the majority of sales and readers are concentrated. In Japan, it's closer to literature, and anyone can read it, and it's not just hero stories. There's a much wider range of genres, like stories about cooking and soccer. You can draw stories from that. So I'm very happy that manga has been so successful because it's giving me a quote-unquote goal to aim for. The manga market is bigger than our industry, so the question becomes, what can we learn from this? I don't think he's wrong. I think it would be silly to say that Jim Lee is wrong because there are a lot of things manga does that just works better than Western comics. So I do think there are some things that Western comics do better than manga, but I also think that it's two different sides of the same coin in a way. It's two different markets in a way. Something I will say that Western comics does better than manga, and that's honestly just like the collectionization of it, the variant covers, wanting to collect each and every individual issue. That's something that it's like for a collector, it's more appealing for that way for American comics. But the actual stories, he did say And something I will push back on. He's like, well, Western comics, it's mostly superhero stories. Now, admittedly, today, just go through all our comics we have. We're talking nothing but superhero stories today, but we do often bring up non-superhero stories from non-big two publishers. We do bring up stories from Boom. We do bring up stories from Image that are not superhero stories. DC is bringing back Vertigo, which is traditionally non-superhero stories. That first issue of Bleeding Heart from Dennis Camp's coming out next week, and clearly that to me is a direct reaction and a bit of a test to see if that's something that can work. In my opinion, for you both, before I let both of you give your opinions on this, I think there's a lot of factors. There's not just one, there's not just two or three. I think there's so many factors to this, and there's a lot of bad faith arguments also out there that are contributing to all this. I think two or three for me, first of all, is the price. It is so easy to get into manga. You have like a $3.99 subscription per month and you have everything. But that's just a money thing, right? That's something I can never really, truly, realistically see the modern American comic industry doing. It's just not feasible, in my opinion. And then the other, I see a lot of discussion on, well, it's the individual stories. You could just start at issue 1 or volume 1 of a manga and you just work your way through and it's very self-contained. I do agree with that to an extent, but I think there's also some pushback there. AF, I want to get your opinions on this first. You're a DC guy. I know you like Jim Lee. What do you think?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
So I don't think I'm really that qualified to speak on the manga side, apart from some Dragon Ball manga that I read eons ago. But I think from his point of view, I think he's speaking a bit in a vacuum. You mentioned how all of our books today, it's a lot of superheroes, and we're going to be talking a lot about superheroes. But there are titles, there are comic book arcs and comic book runs, and titles that are non-superhero-y. Something like the Paper Girls, for example. I love that book, and they're just a group of girls. Yes, there are sci-fi sort of things within the book, but they aren't superheroes. It's a really cool story at the end of it all. But yeah, like I think he's just speaking in a vacuum within DC, within Marvel, and he's comparing the big two to the manga genre.
I think the hero aspect is interesting considering one of the biggest manga stories and animes to come out over the last 10 years is My Hero Academia, which is a story about superheroes. So I think the superhero thing isn't necessarily a great argument. I'm going to be honest. I think one of the arguments that people do bring up, and this entire discussion was contributed thanks to our buddy Jam, who I want to reach out to. I kind of want to have a bigger, larger discussion on this rather than just a smaller section with our show. And I do read manga. I have a whole manga shelf over to my left of manga that I read, specifically Demon Slayer and Spy Family. But like, I think American comics have both an advantage and a disadvantage on the same thing. And that is its continued universe. I think there is something when you buy into American comics, when you buy into DC and you buy into Marvel, there's something about you're buying into that universe and you're buying into the stories of that world. And the cool thing is that it's ever continuing, everlasting. Sometimes on the DC side, you do have a hard reboot. You do have your new 52s. You do have your rebirths and stuff like that, but you're buying into the universe. Whether on the manga side, you're just buying into that story. And I think that is an advantage and a disadvantage for some people. TJ, I just kind of laid all this out onto you right as the show started. You've heard both me and I have talked about it. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I definitely agree with both of you. And I think that there's definitely like some nuance to these comments for sure. Like you said, I don't think I can't say he's wrong, right? But I don't also think he's right either. And I don't read manga, so forgive me out there if what my comments are just like totally stupid. I am an idiot, but from the outside looking in, I don't know. To me, it just feels like what is the classic saying that they say at Marvel? Comics are the world outside your window, and I think that there's just an obvious cultural differences between if you live in America or another country. And I mean, there's a reason why the American action hero is like a thing. Like, look at our American movies, very much the hero fighting, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's not necessarily a superhero, like Rambo, whatever. So I think that's just like kind of what American consumers are kind of gravitate towards and have. But that doesn't mean that there aren't those other stories out there, which brings me to the other side of this is if those books exist, it's not like they don't exist. And, no disrespect to Jim Lee or anybody else in these big companies like DC and Marvel, but market them. If you want to see more of those stories, market those books, support those books. It's like those books do exist. It's not just superheroes. It isn't just Marvel and DC. So again, I don't know if you're someone like Jim Lee, who is in a position of authority and, people take what he says seriously, promote those kind of books. Make those kind of books, give people the opportunity to make those books. Like you just said, Marvel, DC, all superheroes, which they created the game, but I'm sure there's a lot of writers out there that have amazing stories that don't have to do with superheroes that can fit into these worlds, but doesn't seem like we're just getting event Jonathan Hickman, which again, I love Hickman. I love, whatever. Just using it as an example. But yeah, those books exist. Those writers exist. Let's give them the opportunity. Let's give them the exposure. So that's how I feel. And again, I know nothing about manga, but just from that side of it.
Yeah, like I said, I'd love to have a larger discussion, especially with Jam, who's a big manga reader. I enjoy manga. I do have a Shonen Jump subscription. I think it's literally and to me, that's the biggest thing. It's like $3 a month or whatever it is. You just have access to everything, the day it comes out, essentially. And to me, that is the biggest hurdle. That is the divider between manga and Western comics. Because it's AF, I know you also have Marvel Limited. I have Marvel Unlimited. TJ, I don't know if you have DC Infinite and whatnot. But if you want the DC Infinite subscription that gives you the book that came out, the super subscription. And that's not even the book that comes out this month. It's a book that came out a month ago. It's $20 a month or whatever it is, right? It's $15-20 a month. It's not cheap. It is a huge stark difference between the two. I think that as its base is the first thing, and then we can go on from there. As I said, I'd love to have a large discussion on this. I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts in the comments as well, because this is just a huge hot topic. Before we move on, TJ, let's go.
Just one last thing before we move on. I just want to point everyone, shout out Jam. Go check out his video he just did a video on this. Maybe TJ can link it in the comments or something. But yeah, go check that out.
Yeah, it was about almost 24 hours ago. It literally came out yesterday. That inspired this entire discussion. And hopefully we can kind of just have a one-off special, funny enough, a one-shot of just discussing this topic, because I think it is a fascinating topic, and I would love to have it without any bad faith arguments that I do see in this space. It's not everyone, but I'd love to have it on a good level playing field in terms of the discussion there. But speaking of superhero comics, let's talk about superhero comics with the biggest superhero of all time. Batman. This is Absolute Batman. This is written by Scott Snyder, artist Nick DeGrota, colors Frank Martin, letter Clayton Cowles, and editors Sabrina Futch, Katie Cooper, and Chris Conroy. I had to stop myself several times from doing the nerd voice while I was saying all those names. This is the second meeting of Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman. This was when this was announced. We had a big crossover between the Wonder Woman title and now the Batman title. And I must say, this book is really fucking cool, man. It's so cool. Oh my God. I don't want to spoil anything in here, but the best thing about both of these crossovers is that they both advance the plot of each individual story. It
Yes.
feel,
That's
it
what
didn't
I
feel
love.
at all like we're just like going out of our way and we're doing something and it's like, that was my time with Batman. Like, no, both of them helped each other get to a point that they both need to get to in their own respective series. We're already feeling so lived in and so carefully done and smartly done. And I've seen interviews now with Scott talking about how he works with Nick Dragotta, especially on this Absolute Batman title. And it is a classic, I hate to call it Marvel method, but it is like a method that these two do where they both are with each other. I think they said like once a week or something, where they're sitting down with each other, bulletin board and all, talking about story ideas and how they're going to lay it out and stuff. And it's just fantastic. I love this issue. Super fun, super well done. I don't want to say worried about how Scott Snyder was going to handle Absolute Wonder Woman, but this is like truly the first time we'd see this character done not from Kelly. So I was a little cautious. Scott killed it. Scott killed it. Along with Nick Dragotta, they both killed it. Loved it. AF. What'd you think about this issue?
Nah, dude, I'm on that same train with you. I think everything was done so well. I mean, there's so much chemistry between these two characters, and it's something that you didn't know how it was going to work until they actually came together or what were put together. Something that I noticed in this book is that when Batman's around her, he's so much more sensitive. He's so much more polite. He's he's like a scout essentially. Like you get to see this other side of him, and that was a really cool thing. And another thing that I noticed as well is um Wonder Woman looks a bit more muscular, a bit bigger in this one. And I wonder if that's because that's how Batman perceives her, because this book is from his point of view. So he's treating her as his equal. So he looks big and she's just as strong, if not stronger, than what he is. So I think like small little details like that really just like write this one home like perfectly well. I enjoyed it. And like you said, it just furthers the plots of the individual stories as well.
Totally agree. I love the way Nick Dragotta draws Absolute Wonder Woman just as big, if not bigger, as you can see on this cover. Batman looking up at Wonder Woman saying, "Go to hell." Fantastic cover. Love this issue. I think what you're talking about when Batman or Bruce being a little more sensitive about or around Diana, I think it's because there's that respect between the two. And you got that in the last issue where Diana really truly earned that respect from Bruce, doubled down on it, and now you really see it here. Something just minor plot spoiler, they're going through hell to try to get an item, an artifact, in order to help Killer Croc in his situation with Waylon. And it's funny because it goes through like 2 weeks plus of them walking around. There's some really good humor back and forth between the two. I really loved. TJ, what'd you make about this issue?
Loved it. I mean, exactly what you guys said. My favorite part about it is, like you were saying, it's not just a little sidetrack, like, oh, fun team up, which it is, but it also furthers the plot, which the Wonder Woman issue did as well, which it's absolutely my favorite part. Again, like you guys said, love the dynamic between Bruce and Diana. I totally agree with what you guys are saying, but another layer that I kind of thought about to their relationship is I kind of felt like, isn't that kind of Wonder Woman's whole thing? Like she brings out the best in everyone around her. So to me, I kind of took it as like, Batman, Bruce is very standoffish, very, conserved around everyone, but even Diana, because she is Wonder Woman, he feels comfortable like that he doesn't with anybody else. So I love that. It just kind of subtle way of, again, hitting that theme of how Wonder Woman, brings the best out of everyone. And yeah, it was awesome. Loved it.
There's a great full page spread. The two of them about to attack a centaur. Really good humor immediately after that as well. I just love this issue. I give it, gentlemen, I don't do this often. Maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. 5 out of 5 issue.
5 stars, baby. 5 stars.
Gotta agree. I also, really quickly, we'll move on in 2 seconds. I also liked this issue. We kind of see that Bruce is capable of handling things not street level. Like so
Yeah.
far, we have been just in Gotham, but again, without spoilers, well, kind of. Without
I was gonna
spoilers,
say Bruce's street level stuff is Dark Souls
yeah.
level villains in any other
But
book.
yeah, exactly. But you get what I mean, like more like a mystical, like bigger threat than just Earth. So I liked that too, because I mean, he's gonna be facing some crazy, you know what, later on. I would say.
No, you can swear on the show. I don't give a shit. Anyway,
Shit.
Speaking of Absolute Wonder Woman, there was 4 Absolute titles out this week, and this is Absolute Wonder Woman number 16. A new story starts here. It had been continuing over the last couple issues where we got a little bit of a tease of Absolute Zatanna, and the cosplays, the fan art, people are going crazy AF for Absolute Zatanna. This is written by Kelly Thompson, art from Hayden Sherman, colors Jordi Belair, and letterer Becca Carey. One gripe, though, on this cover, they added a bonus DC Vertigo logo on the bottom right. Take that off. Practically ruined a perfect cover. And you know what the worst part is? AS over here laughing. This is not the only DC book to include like a little Vertigo bonus thing in the back end. This is, I believe, from when I was looking at the shelf, the only one that had a little DC Vertigo logo on it. And it's for Nice House by the Sea number 7, which is the 7th issue of a sequel series to like a Nice House by the Lake. Like, this is like the one book you didn't need to do extra promotion for. What are we doing? Anyway, this issue is very good. Very, very good first issue. I'm already seeing, we've seen in the last couple issues when we got teases of Absolute Zatanna, but I'm already seeing people ship Diana and Zatanna. Will it happen? I don't know. Right now, they seem to want to kill each other. But isn't that how every good romance starts, TJ?
I don't know about everyone, but
very good issue. We're just kind of setting things up where Absolute Zatanna brings in her AF. Cover your ears if you don't want spoilers. She brings in her Suicide Squad to take down Absolute Wonder Woman. TJ, what'd you make of this issue? It's the first issue of a new arc. I really liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, like you said, it's the first issue of an arc, so nothing, crazy happened. We're really setting up, tying up where we left off, the beginning with the refugees from the maze and all that. But yeah, I mean, I love the series. So even if it's not like, the craziest issue, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Zatanna is not, I'm not an expert, not really in my wheelhouse. So the reveal is cool, but I'm sure for a lot of people that are, it's like, oh my God, Absolute Zatanna, which I'm super psyched for them. But yes, it was cool. And I'm interested to see what this Suicide Squad is. We've talked before, again, along with Zatanna, Wonder Woman, also not an expert on. So like I recognize some of these characters, which I don't want to spoil too much, but don't really know much about them. So that is exciting as well to not only see the absolute versions of these characters, but seeing how Diana is going to navigate this.
Very cool reveal at the end of the book. I really liked it. It's like a 4 out of 5 type of book. The first issue of a new arc. Like you said, we're kind of like wrapping things up from the last arc with the maze and Ferdinand, all that stuff. Super cool. Really liked it. And now we're moving forward. And the biggest struggle that is seemingly that Wonder Woman will have here, where she's been relying a lot on her magic the first 2 volumes, she will be without her magic, or at least seemingly her magic will be under the control of Zatanna here, who is a much more powerful magic figure. AF, I know you hadn't had the chance to read this issue yet, but how excited are you for Absolute Zatanna?
Nah, dude, I can't wait. I've been waiting for this character to come into play for a while. So I think I have about 3 issues because I just read the Absolute Wonder Woman Batman one to, like keep up with that thing. But like in terms of the Absolute Wonder Woman storyline, I think I'm about like 3 or 4 books behind. So I'll get there soon. But I'm stoked.
Get there soon, get there quick, because it's great. And once again, I've been saying, like, I have not seen this much excitement over a character on social media since we got the reveal of Absolute Wonder Woman. and the design, right? So Hayden Sherman just killing it with these absolute character designs for Absolute Wonder Woman. Fantastic. A book we've been loving. A book we've been loving. Much different book. When we talk about the abstract and we talk about like when we had that comics and manga discussion and how like this isn't a superhero book, TJ, Absolute Martian Manhunter. This is an individual who is just getting a thing in his head and he just sees the world so differently, so distraught, and the layers throughout this series and a lot in this issue as well that are just highlighted by Javi Rodriguez's art and colors is incredible. This isn't like a sit down popcorn book read. This is a sit down thinky book read. What did you make of this issue, TJ? Because this issue, I think this is the second issue of this new arc. A lot of layers to it. It's you can't just unpack it with one wrap.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it again, honestly. Like you said, there's so many layers to the book, and just the way I talk all again, number one president of Denise Camp fan club here, but it's like just the way he's like structuring the story. Like it's like it almost looks like it doesn't make sense at first, right? But it's like, I don't know, it's so interesting to read, and it blows me away every time. Like you said, the layers of what he's saying with this book, the commentary, the symbolisms, parallels is again just mind blowing. Like, won't get into a whole discussion, but in the very beginning, there's a like funny and weird scene of this dude eating like a chicken finger, and you can hear the thoughts of the chicken, but it also like to me very much paralleled like who this boss was and like his role in the job that he is in. So it's just like I said, it's such a good book to read. It's something that really scratches that itch for me of, like you said, you really got to sit and think to it. And I want to really, obviously, Javier Rodriguez, again, every time I read one of these books, jaw on the floor, just amazing. But I do want to also highlight Hassan for the letters, because the lettering is just as amazing and it works so symbiotically with Javier's art and the abstractness of it. Yeah, I mean, I say this every time, but I cannot praise this book enough. It is probably my favorite right now. Just it's awesome, man. Literally every aspect of it, I love it.
I will get into slight spoilers here because there is one thing in this story that I couldn't not help see as I'm reading this. And I don't want to ruin this entire thing for you, TJ, but I couldn't unsee it the second it started happening, which, if you don't want spoilers, skip ahead. But the Martian Manhunter, the little alien inside John's head, and John decided to just like part ways for a little bit, just to give John like essentially a night off without the alien in his head talking about everything. There's two things I want to get to with this. But the first thing is they're like, we're parting ways. And I couldn't not see Venom at
Totally.
Carnage movie where it's like you have Venom out and about literally in a rave. At one point in this issue, the Manhunter,
I didn't even think about that,
is at a rock
yes.
show, and I'm like, I couldn't unsee that. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
literally
totally.
Carnage. Which is fine. But one thing I love when we talk about the symbolism, there's so many symbolic layers in this, not just this, but I wanted to hyper focus on what the anti-life is for John. And it's very simple and it's very obvious. It's depression. The anti-life that the Manhunter's talking about, it's like doing this is, that's not good. It's for the anti-life. You're getting closer to the anti-life. You're getting closer to it, and it's falling deeper and deeper and deeper into depression. We always talk about with these absolute titles, it's like the dark side of it all. And this is really the only one that has kind of come close to even mentioning dark side, and dark side is. But we're not even like getting to that. We're just talking about kind of what it represents and what it means. And for John, it's depression. I just love that. I thought the way he was going about it was perfect.
Yeah. Again, just there's so many layers to this book. I mean, how we interact with society, how we interact with each other, how just everything. It's such a great book. We're talk about non-superhero books, and I know like Martian Manhunter is typically a superhero, but I say this fits the bill of something that is just different. You know what I mean?
For sure. 100% different. 4.3 out of 5 for me.
I'm going 5, baby. 5 out of 5.
Okay. The 4.3 is some points taken off for the Carnage 1-for-1 scenes.
See, and I didn't even. I think I saw that movie once, if I even did. So I didn't even make that connection. So it didn't ruin it
And I was
for
like,
me.
oh, like, no, don't remind me. AF, this is your boy. This is Absolute Flash. This is our last absolute title of the day. This is written by Jeff Lemire, art from Nick Robles, colors Adriano Lucas, letter Tom Napolitano, and editors Ash Padilla, Andrew Marino, Katie Coopert, and Chris Conroy of the Absolute Editor team. They're shout out to them too, because they're doing a phenomenal job handling all of these titles. I've been saying Absolute Flash has been slow to start, but really ramping up. I have been loving the last 3-4 issues. Essentially, once when you get to like a Barry Allen issue, I was like, yes, this is what I want. And I don't want to say I feel like we kind of stepped back with this issue, AF. But in a way, I feel like we did. And it had a little bit to do with the story structure. I'll have to see after next issue if we go and explain some things, go back in time, ironically enough, because it felt like we literally got half of a story, but still skipped to the end of a big moment.
Dude, I think that the story went so quickly. Like, we were sort of told that they're going to be exploring the still point. Like, I'm probably going to get into a bit of spoilers over here. They're going to be exploring the still point. That was so quick, dude. Like you said, hopefully we go back and there's still more to sort of fill the narrative a bit. But I mean, everything just happened so quickly. I was very underwhelmed by the end of this. I felt like I needed more. I felt like I wanted more to sort of just fill up some things that I had in my head and so many questions that I needed to be answered. But yeah, this was definitely one of the, I wouldn't call it like completely weak, but one of the weaker ones that's been out, because we were going on a steady incline and then we just sort of dipped a bit this week.
It felt like we were fully, like, it took a while to get to a full sprint. We're sprinting and then we just got stripped a little bit. Right? That's kind of what it felt like. TJ, I saw you nodding as I was giving my thoughts. I assume you have the same feelings.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys brought that up, because I felt the exact same way. And I was like, wait, what? Like, issue was cooking. I was loving it. And then it was, I don't know. You said we can get into a little bit of spoilers, but I thought it was kind of funny. I even went back because I was like, wait, did I miss something? And it's like the last panel we see of Wally, he's like, how long am I going to be here? And then literally 2 pages, it's like, bah, I'm here. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, that was very underwhelming. So yeah, the issue was cooking for me. I loved it, but agree with the ending. I was very much underwhelmed. Like, what the, okay, I guess we're at the big boss battle. So yeah, I, like you said, I hope next issue we kind of go back to that whole thing.
Weirdly enough, this is a book that may have been better if it ended 2 pages earlier. And
literally,
for that
yes.
reason,
If it ended on that
I don't know how long I'm
Wally,
going to be here, I'll be like, okay, interesting. But it's almost like I can't remember if it's 28 years later or something, where it's the movie that just came out like a year ago, where you had like a really good ending, and then it's just like the movie just kept going for a little bit to set up the next movie, and then everyone's like, what the hell's going on? How do you end it there? I feel like the same thing with this issue in a way.
I will say I really liked, which I guess is the Speed Force in this. The still point, I'm assuming, is the same thing as the Speed Force. I really liked their explanation of how that worked, of it being like the lights before the Big Bang. Like, I thought that was super cool. And not a Flash expert, but the Speed Force, I feel like, is something that kind of changes depending on who's right. Like, it's very confusing. So I thought their explanation for this version of it, awesome. Really, it made sense, concise. The implications of it kind of explain a lot of things for me. So love that.
I have a question for both of you guys. So after what Barry told Wally in the still point, do you think that I mean, it's comic books; they can always find a way to bring him back. But do you think that he's stuck? That's his place now. He's in the still point forever.
Barry has infamously died and come back before he can infamously die and come back again.
That's fair.
Agreed.
I just thought maybe because it's the absolute universe that they are going to be doing things a bit differently. Like look at poor absolute Jay Garrick. So
R.I.P. Yeah, I mean they really with those old school JSA characters, man. They really did.
Get the hell out of here.
They did not have good fates. Essentially, not a single one. I almost skipped ahead, but let me ask everyone's thoughts or final review numbers. 3.5, 3.4 for this issue.
Agreed.
yeah, I was at a 3.4 as well. Yeah.
All right. TJ, Big Scary Monster, The Infernal Hulk, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, penciler Kev Walker, Nick Klein, inkers Nick Klein and Cam Smith, colorist Matt Wilson, letter Corey Pettit, and editors Katie McGahee, Austin Hatch, Martin Biro, and Jordan D. White. My comic shop owner said he hasn't been keeping up with this book at all, but he just like opened it up and just went, whoa.
Dude. Yes, I've been telling everyone every issue is like crazy monster fight. This one I will say is not all crazy monster fight, which is not a bad thing. You know, we got a story to tell here too, people. So in this issue, for a little recap very quickly, Hulk, Banner no longer linked together. Hulk has been taken over by Eldest, basically the originator of everything creepy, slimy, scary in the Marvel universe. So she controls Hulk, going on a massive just killing spree, gathering all these monsters, awakening all the ancient, whatever. And this issue, we meet back up with Bruce Banner because what the hell happened to him, right? So there's still a lot of mystery. We're kind of just thrown in. So in this issue, we find him and Betty are living in this little town. They have these aliases. They're trying to just kind of live a normal life. But, obviously that can't happen for our buddy Bruce. So again, I would parallel this with the Wonder Woman issue we just talked about. We're starting a new arc, so nothing absolutely crazy or groundbreaking, setting up where we're going to go. But I mean, it was great the way that we're kind of laying out this story. So this issue, we find out where Banner is. Next issue, we're going to find out where Hulk is. Because, I mean, the personality of Hulk is somewhere while his body is possessed by this Eldest. So, yeah, really cool. And honestly, really made me feel bad for Bruce Banner, man. I mean, I always kind of do, but this issue really hits at like, everyone just calls me to be the freaking monster. You know what I mean? Like there's a part with Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic, and he's like, this is you created this problem, dude. You got to take care of this. And he's like, fuck you guys, man. Like, I just want to be a dude. And I was like, yeah. When's the last time we saw Banner just being like a scientist, right? Like for me, it feels like a very long time. So I really like that about it. And yeah, pick it up. I love this book.
Give me a number.
4.5.
Okay.
4.5 for sure.
AF, last book of the day. Back to mainline DC. They do that sometimes over other. I have a mainline book, whatever. DCKO, kids are all fight. Little minor DC event going on. This features John, Batgirl, Cheshire Cat, a member of the Flash family, which keeps getting bigger every single time I take a breath. And Fair Play?
Yep.
Wow.
So it's Batgirl, who is Cassandra Cain. Boom, that's Judy Garrick, Jay Garrick's time-displaced daughter. Cheshire Cat, who is Leon Harper, the daughter of Roy Harper. Fair Play, time-displaced son of Curtis Holt. Quiz Kid, time-displaced sidekick of Curtis Holt, Mr. Terrific, or the original Mr. Terrific, if I'm not mistaken. And then, yeah, John Kent. So this is basically just it's a proper filler book. The story was fine. the art was magnificent. Like Travis Mercer, he cooked with almost every single page in this book. Uh, the kids are stuck on the Watchtower. The Garnet Roy Harper, they have to go back to and do the Titans mission. I don't know what's happening in issue 31, so you would know that.
I don't know either, because in the Nightwing book, the Titan's tower just went boom by an evil fifth dimensional clown. So
Interesting. So they have to leave to go do whatever that is, and they're looking for a babysitter. And they use John Kent. Like, okay, you have to look after all of these kids on the Watchtower because you are going to be our last line of defense. The huge tournaments going on, we have to go down to Earth. We have to split up and take care of Earth, and you have to look after the Watchtower. And he's like, I'm the son of Superman. Like, I can help you guys on Earth. And they were like, nope, you need to stay here. And he does that. He asks Batgirl to help him, but the kids end up escaping because Fairplay wants to go down, and he looks for Granny Goodness because she's on Earth because of this whole dark side tournament. Like, they taking over the Earth. They're trying to convert Earth to Apocalypse. So he goes down because she kidnapped him when he was a child. So he's trying to get back at her and all of those things. So him and all of his friends, they all go down. They meet the Furies, Granny Goodness's Furies, and she's already mind controlled Courtney Whitmore, Stargirl, Yara Floor. Who else did she? It was Irie West. So yeah, just taking more of the young heroes and just mind controlling them. They end up winning the fight, obviously, with the help of amazing return. And I mean, it's no surprise with what's coming in February, but Static is back for the first
Static's back,
time
baby.
in I can't remember how long, but he's back. He's wearing his suit, and he helps them defeat Granny Goodness. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be back," blah 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 blah, all of those things. And then all of them are standing together, and it's like, "Yeah, when you're back, we'll be waiting." And that's basically just to say these are probably going to be your new Teen Titans. I think that they created this book to sort of create this new team. Welcome your new Teen Titans, and I think it was fine. I think it was okay. I didn't have any gripes with it. I think Jeremy Adams did the best that he could with what he was given, but I think the art in here is fantastic.
It will be interesting if these are the new Teen Titans and which one of these actually make the team. I do know in the Titans book, they already have some of them coming over. Batgirl / Stephanie / spoiler on there. Yara Floor on there. John Kent on there. And I don't like this at all. Tara also on there because we can never just let her be dead. It annoys me, but I've been like lightly keeping up with that, and she returns like as updated as I am in that book, and I'm just like, oh god, can we just like move on from Tara? It would be like the equivalent would almost be like if we just kept bringing back Gwen Stacy, and not like Spider Gwen, but like
don't they do that already? Though?
But I was gonna say, but like not like Spider-Man or Spider Gwen, but like the Gwen Stacy, we just kind of like keep zombifying her in a way, and it's like, oh, just stay dead.
One last thing that I can say about this book: this cover, Bruno Redondo cooked with it. It was, look at that, guys,
Fantastic.
Amazing.
AF, give me a number.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one about a 3.7, 3.8.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, next week's polls, another heavy hitter week. Not so much on the absolute side. We do have Absolute Superman. Might as well just drop that this week too. I mean, why not? Batman number 6. We have DC KO boss battle. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's the one where we get to see Superman punch Homelander in the face. That's all I want to see. That's all I'm buying that book for. Yes, I know Vampirella is in the book. I don't care. I just want to see Superman punch Homelander directly in the face. Magic and Colossus number 1, the continuation, the spiritual continuation of the Magic ongoing series that was. Yes, we are going full Scarlet Witch with magic as well. Number one, everyone, shocker. Ultimate Endgame number 2 and Ultimate Wolverine number 14. Myself and TJ both actually liked last issue, apropos to some of the general audience reactions to it. So we are both looking forward to that. AF, anything on this list that you have that I don't?
I have all new Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider number 7, and DCKO Night Fight, the finale.
Night Fight got to see Bruce come to terms, and I actually had a crazy idea on what I'd like to see DC do with Tim Drake. It also has to do with the fact that I'm not the biggest Tim Drake fan, but I have an idea what I'd like to see DC do with Tim Drake, but I know they'll never do it because it essentially means everyone has to grow the hell up. TJ, what do you have next week?
I actually don't know because my phone is across the room and I forgot to grab it, so I can't look at my polls. But I do know that I have Ultimate Endgame, Ultimate Wolverine, and Absolute Superman, just like you. So whatever else I have, I guess y'all will have to tune in next week to find out.
Are you not going to be reading Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant
Does
number
that come
1?
out this next week?
That's next week. There you are.
Oh, baby, let's go. Yeah, first on my list for sure. First book I'm going to be talking about next week.
Figured. All right, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, you don't want Godzilla Infinity War? No?
I think I'll skip out on this one.
Oh boy, comic books never managed to make me not laugh. All right, that'll do it for this issue of the Comic Corner. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, TJ, Brandon, Emma, for all joining us in the chat. Much appreciated as always. We'll be back next week. And hey, if you are interested in that idea of getting myself and hopefully like Jam and maybe a couple other people together to talk nicely about comics and manga, the differences, what's working, what isn't working, I think if done correctly, that is a very fascinating discussion. Also, just on the mind of that, Chip Zdarsky actually has a manga podcast, which is of the same vein and very interesting to listen to as well. On the comic side, make sure you support your local comic shops. They do sometimes carry a manga there as well. Go to comicshoplocator.com to find nearest comic shop near you. Stay well, be safe. We'll see you next week.